Hello, welcome to Tassel Tuesday. Tassel Tuesday. This is Sherry from Turquoise Dreaming, and I'm here to work on a tassel this week. We do this every week. This is a collab hosted by Jovi at Creating with Jovi, and so on her channel, she links all the participants below. And if I have a minute, I could try to go over and copy her list and put it under mine. So under my videos. So just, if you want to see the other tassels that are being made this week or in previous weeks, just go under my video and, click the different participants. And I also have a Tassel Tuesday playlist of my videos if you want to get some different ideas for tassels. So this week, my plan was to make a ocean beach tassel, ocean beach/beach. So the things I gathered were, first of all, the first thing I had, which was kind of like the number one motivation behind this, is this little string of shells. This was a shell necklace I picked up at a thrift store, and these are real shells on here, and they're like little shell beads, and they're so cute, aren't they? And it's strung on monofilament. So I pulled some of them off, but here's where I pulled some off right here. This is pretty thin monofilament. But anyway, I thought about, if you found something like this, I thought about, I could have just strung it like this, but I kind of wanted to do it like beads and not have them all together. I wanted to put them, space them apart. So that was one element of my tassel this week. The second element I found was this tool. It's kind of glittery and blue and like the ocean, how it looks glittery when the stars or the sun is shining on it. So that's my little ocean tool there. And then I found this fabric in my stash, which is kind of like it was just a strip. And I think maybe it was a scrap. I don't know if it was from me or from someone in Happy Mail, but it was kind of like tie-dyed. You can kind of probably see it here. Kind of like a tie-dyed looked blue. So I figured that also looked, with the different tones of blue, that also looked like the ocean. So that's what I've got here. And I was going to show you how I was stringing, stringing the shell beads. So it's pretty cool that these, I don't know if they sell these in craft stores, but these actually have little holes that go, maybe somebody or a factory or something that makes beads drilled a hole through the top of these little shells. And they're so small. And so all I did was take some off of that necklace, and I took one at a time, and this monofilament is thicker than the one in the necklace, so it's kind of almost like a little needle. And I just very carefully and patiently poked them through each of these little shells. So I was going to finish this off with you. And if it doesn't go through, like I have some over here, I have a little pile of right now I have 5 over there that I couldn't get to restring. And so I'm piling the ones over there that don't go through. But let's see if this one goes through. You kind of got to make sure it's straight. See, I feel like this one's going in crooked, so maybe that's why it's not going through. So if it doesn't go through, just in case you ever try this, I've been, I already strung all of these. So by the time you get to the end, it's kind of like a needle that's getting bent. You know what I mean? So I got to get one that's really got a straight hole so I can get this. I had just one more to string, and I wanted to show you how I was doing it. So this is just how I'm doing it. So these beads you can string on monofilament. I tried wax cord. I was kind of excited that I had blue wax cord. This was in a bag of goodies that I got at a thrift store, and I didn't buy it for this, but it was in there. So I was like, put it in my stash, and I've never used it. But I was excited, like, oh, I get to use my blue wax cord, but I couldn't get these little shells to string on there. I just needed this stiff monofilament. So I think it's going through this one. So I just poke it through, pull it down, and it stays where you put it, because this is, like I said, thicker than what it was strung on when it was a necklace. So since this is thicker, it's going through that hole, that same hole, but it's filling that hole tighter. So I didn't even have to tie a knot under any of these. They just stayed right where I put them. Let me see. Let me show you up close so you can see. But then I tied a double knot on each end just for security purposes. You know, I mean, you never know what's going to happen with your strings, right? So you want to have a little knot at the end. So I tied a double knot just at the end of each one, kind of like a square knot is what I'm trying, what I'm trying to tie. So hopefully that is what I'm tying, just to make sure, because you know how things are that like monofilament or maybe wax cord that you tie a knot and then over time it can get loose. So if you tie a square knot, supposedly it will not come loose. So that's what I'm trying to do here. So let me tie one. I tied one in that end. Let's tie one in this end. You can move your shell up for a second while you're tying your last little bit of a knot here, so you can have some extra string to work with while you're tying your knot, and then move it back down after you get your knot tied. Let's see. So now I got to tie the other way. Yeah, I saw Jovi do this on her channel last week. Was it Jovi? She tried a square knot. And so I was like, oh, that's a square knot. Okay, cool. So now I know what a square knot is. I mean, I've heard people say it before, but I never really knew what it was. So learned something new, Jovi. Thank you. So yeah, here is my other strand of, so I've got 2 strands of shells for my ocean/beach tassel. And I just thought this would be fun to, you know, if someone needed a tassel for a beach journal, or in this, yeah, for a beach journal, or, you know, beach decor or something. But this monofilament was wrapped on here, you know, on a round spool. So it's a little bendy. I think it will straighten out after time. And it's kind of like wire. I've been trying to like bend it the opposite way of where it wants to go, because it wants to still, you know, kind of bend in that spool circle. And so, because these are not very heavy, and it does seem to bend when I bend it like a wire the opposite way to get it straight. It does seem to bend. So it just might take time to let it straighten out. And whoever gets this can do this too. Just kind of, you know, bend this like this so you can straighten this out if you want it. Maybe you don't even care if it's straight, but I kind of would like to get a little straight so it hangs right, you know what I mean? Okay, so we're going to see if we can get this together with the shells. So first of all, let's figure out where the middle is. And I'm going to kind of bring this all together. And we've got our tool. My tool is underneath the fabric here. And I want to separate, I had already planned on doing this when I put the little, I'm going to use a little notebook ring here to gather it in the middle. But I had already planned on, you know, just put my shells on there, and then when it comes time to gather it up, I'll move my shells over a little bit so that I can get my ring around here and not have my shells hidden in the little piece right here. So let's get this around here and bring this up and see what it looks like. Snap this together. I kind of like finishing these off with you all so that you can see how I, you know, a little bit of how I make these, because the tedious part of tearing the fabric and, you know, pulling all the strings off, you know, you don't want to see that, right? And I have done it from scratch, so you can see that in my playlist, some tassels made from scratch, the first couple I made from scratch. And you can always adjust these. See, now I can adjust these ones that I moved down, these shells. And I'll work with that later too. I'll keep kind of pulling this down and twisting this so it becomes straight after time, hopefully. But see, it looks cute just like that. See, this one is doing good already. And I guess I could just tuck this in under there, couldn't I? The shells, so that the fabric kind of holds it down in the tool. And it can get caught in the tool a little bit, and that would help to hold it down, right? So basically I have 2 strands, or once we fold it in half, 2 strands of shells on each side. So there it is so far. Can you see the little shells amongst the tool and the, you know, the fabric there? So now I have some little pieces. When I was cutting the tool in the fabric, I had some little pieces that were not long enough to to be a strand in my tassel. So I'm going to use those to tie around the top here and make our little top part. So maybe since I have, let's see, I have this gets really thin. So let's cut this really thin part off. We don't need that. And then maybe we can use some tulle and some, so we don't waste, you know, I don't have these little pieces left from my scraps. Maybe we can use all these little scraps in our little tie-off piece here. Let's see, let's put them all together and see what happens. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4 pieces. This could be really pretty, right? Okay, let's see, let's try it. We're experimenting now. Okay, so I'm going to lay this down and lay this down. So this is how I always do it. So let's see where our shells are too. So I'm going to pull, see how these are going to get caught up in the little top tie-off part. So right now I'm going to pull these down, and just so that they're below this little part we're going to tie off here. And like I said, I can move them around later, or I can leave them gathered up, you know, maybe that'll be pretty. Just have some together and some separate. You know, you can put them on however you want, or I can put them on however I want. And then, okay, so we did that one. Let's do this one here. I'm going to pull this one down a little bit. So I just want them to get covered up, our little strands here, and then you won't be able to see them, right? So we need them to be a little bit lower below this tie-off piece. Okay, and here's one more here amongst the fabric. Let's pull that off. Pull it down. Okay, I think we've got them all low enough now. Okay. Let's see, are we all together? I feel like this one's not in the group. Get back in the group. Get there, mister. Okay, let's see. Let's lay it down again because I want to make sure everything is inside our little tie-off pieces here. Okay. And since we've got 4, it's a little bit fiddly as we're experimenting. Okay, I want to pull all my little fabrics down, make sure everything's straight as far as just, you know, tight down, and we're not going to have any loopy bits at the top. Okay, so I'm going to tie this in a knot. I'm going to see if we tie it any further. Like, do we want a bow? Do we have enough to tie a bow? Do we just want a little knot or a couple double knot at the top? It looks like we might only have enough for a double knot. So let's just see how this goes. The tulle is a little fiddly too. It's a little bit like it catches and things like that. So working with tulle, I found cutting tulle a little difficult too. I'll tell you what helped though. My first piece I cut, and I unwound this and like cut one strand, and I was like, wow, that just took, you know, you see how long this is. And then after that I folded it in 4 pieces and cut my strands like that. You know, and I folded it even. It wasn't like a mess like this right now. I folded it real nice and got it all straight, and then cut my strips. So I was basically had 4 layers to cut through, and that was a lot easier to cut than trying to cut 1 layer at a time. And then I was able to cut them into the lengths that I needed. Hope that makes sense. But okay, let's fluff out our tassel here and get everything straight. So, and pull it down and all that kind of stuff. See what we got here. See how it turned out. I'm not done tying this top piece. I just want to get these strands pulled down first, nice and tight there. Okay, I think we got it down nice and tight. So let's take these again, these short little strands that we put on here. Let's see where they all are. Let's see, that's a long one. It's a short one. That's a short one. Okay, so let's grab our short ones again. So I'm going to pull this tight now. See, it's shaping up. And do we have enough for a bow? Let's try it. It might be a small bow, but it might look really cute. I like little bows at the top of these. I don't know why. I just like bows, I guess. And it kind of puts a finishing touch to it, right? A little bow at the top. Okay, yeah, cool. We got our bow. All right. So you see our watery little tassel. It looks like water, right? And we'll push our, now let's look at our shells because we pushed them down. So I might push these, okay, so I can push this one back up. See, I pulled this one real far down. So let's pull those back up there now that we got our tie on. We see where everything is. And here's another strand here. Let's see how that one came out. I might need to pull it a little bit so it's not too short on one side. So let's pull that. And this one's not too long. Okay, so that's 2. Now let me look at the other 2 pieces. This one needs to be pulled down a little bit, and then these shells can be pushed back up now that we know where everything's going. Okay, spread those apart a little bit, space them out. And this one here, it's really down in there. Let me find the top of it and see if we have any shells that we need to pull. There's one way up here that could be pulled down a little bit so we can see it. You know, it's kind of getting mixed up with the almost up into the little knot there. So let's pull that one down so we can see it. That little shell right there. Okay, I think I got it. Okay, all right. So I'm happy with all the placement of the shells now. There's all my extras, and I have all these on the necklace too. But now, okay, so fun, right? I love making tassels. Here's a string I need to pull off. I did tear these. I like to tear the fabrics. I like this, the you know, kind of torn edge or frayed edge on the fabric in these. It just gives it an extra bit of texture and kind of a fluffy look. Okay, so I think it's pretty much together. It's hard to show you on video because it's not hanging, but I'm going to pick it up, kind of like fluff it out now, and let you see how cute. I like it. Yeah, my little ocean tassel, my little beach tassel. There she is. So pretty, right? With the little shells. Now that I didn't want to try it not tonight on this one. Maybe I'll try it next week. Make one with well, I don't have any more of this fabric, but I thought I have some like beads that look like gems that I haven't ever used on a tassel, and I thought I might get those out and try to mix those up with the shells, like some shells and some of those they're kind of pastel-y too, so kind of like they reminded me of beach colors is what it was. So my beach, I'm going to call them my beach beads, my shells, and some kind of fabric. I'll look through and see if I have some more blue. I know I have blue gingham. I just didn't want to use blue gingham because it's not, well, it can be beachy, but this was the most beachy fabric I had right here. So anyway, long explanation there, I know, but hope you enjoyed this little beachy tassel, and it will be in my shop. So thank you for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. Happy crafting.